What's going on, guys? Junior's Fishing Company with another jig today. Getting back to the jig. So this is a 1/4 ounce Northland tackle deep feed jig. I really like these jigs. They're kind of sleek, long ways, and I just really like the big eyes. Really, that's the thing I like most about it. This is a 1/4 ounce. I think that this is called Bubblegum. It's got a little pink and yellow, a little bit of orange on the head. I've got 210 red here just on one of my little bobbins because this is a short hook and I'm not really worried about having a really long stem on my bobbin. This is going to be pink and cerise. So I've got actually a really good pink tail. I think this was Musky Fool. This might just be double A, but I mean, I wish this was a white tail because this is just really good stuff. And then a cerise. It's a pretty cool, it's like a purplish, and again, this is a really nice tail too. Kind of wish these were black and white, but you know, you can't just have black and white. So I'm gonna have just a pink tail on this. I'm going to do pink, cerise, and then I'm actually going to do a little bit of a Senyos laser dub collar just to add some body, so add some shoulders to this bait, because sometimes just deer hair can get really thin, and I've got a million just deer hair jigs, so I'm trying to kind of add other stuff to my box. I want to go right back to about my brass. That's going to be about 5 inches, maybe a little bit less. And so I can always add on like a stinger hook or a small trailer hook or something like that. So I usually tie them a bit longer. Just and a 1/4 ounce. I mean, it's plenty heavy to get a lot of stuff on there. It's gonna sink just fine. Especially if you upgrade, you know, if you go up to like a 3/8 ounce, they're gonna sink really fast. I usually don't. If I use a 3/8 ounce jig, I usually am fishing on the bottom, just because it will sink so fast if you're fishing suspended. These baits just bullet. There's not much drag on them. So I'm gonna get this pink down, and I'm not gonna put any flash on right here yet. I just want to make sure that that's cinched down, and I can come down here, and I'm just going to put my cerise. I've got 2 pretty thin stacks. This can be as thick as you really want it. The first cerise stack I'm going to put in is really thin, and then the second one is a little bit thicker, but not too much, because I want this bait to be tapered. So if you just put a bunch of things in that are the same length and the same thickness, it's just going to be a kind of a flat bait. So I want this to be shorter than my pink by at least a little bit. So I'm actually going to cut off quite a bit. Again, this is really good hair. And like tails like white, if you have 6 tails, you can pick your shortest one and do a jig like this, but I don't have 6 cerise and pink tails, so I'm kind of stuck with just using what I've got, and that's just really good tail. This is hair from the top, because I'm not worried about flare because I'm putting down some Senyos. So if I flare this, it's just going to get pushed down by that laser dub anyway. So I don't need to, if I was doing like a high and tight or something like that, I would want some flare in this. But I really don't care. So I'll get that tied down, and then I'm going to put some flash down. I've got some Flashabou Holographic in light purple, and I'm going to just taper this out. This is a lot of flash, but it's going to get buried pretty decently by my other stuff. So I want to make sure I've got a good amount there just so some of it can sneak out. And then I'll cut this. And then put some on. I'm not worried about 360 perfect. Doesn't have to be. Because flash is flash in my opinion. So I'll flip this. Maybe go on that side. About the same length. Make sure that these are tapered. I'll just get that wrapped right there. Then I can kind of split my hook and get them pushed around. A couple decent wraps. And I'm not going to fold these back, I'm just going to cut them. I've got plenty of flash on there. Alright, glue's dry. I've got my last little stack of Cerise, and I just want it to be not quite as long as that first one, but about as long. I've got some random really long hairs in here, and that's alright because that first stack was super thin anyway. So I'm going to go about right here. I'm going to cut it long, and I'm going to do my usual trim on this head, but I'm going to put some Senyos down too. So I'm going to get that, just 2 wraps, pull that down. I can get this spun around. All the way around. Maybe add a little bit of flare. Just wants to get caught in that other stuff. So yeah, just get it pushed around. Not much flare in here, which is, again, you don't need it. So I'll get a couple good wraps right up there. Make sure that that's down. I'm going to get my razor blade and we'll trim it up. Alright, I've got my pink Senyos laser dub, and I'm going to put a thicker, this one's a little bit thicker than this one. The thicker one's going to go what's going to actually be the bottom of my bait, just to avoid a little bit of that hook, but it's going to be just a little bit thicker. One loose wrap, just pull down, then get a couple tight wraps. And I can kind of flare it out. Flip that around. And this is a little bit of a thinner stack. Just make sure the Senyo dub is just perfect. It's a perfect length. It's not too bulky. It's easy to work with. And it's durable too. So I'll make sure that I got coverage all around my jig. I'm just going to fold back that first bit. I can come up here, wrap that back, and just give it a few wraps up here. To make sure that there's some support up front. And then I'm going to brush this out a little bit. Alright, here it is wet. I got this wet just a couple minutes ago. It's starting to dry a little bit, but I really like how it turned out. Maybe get a little bit thinner right here, but long, thin tail, about as bright as a bait can be. A lot of flash right in that tail, you can kind of see. But I think I'm going to tie a bunch of these up. I really, really like this pattern. And it's a super quick tie too. Juniors Fishing Company, juniorsfishing.com. We'll see you on the next one.